Okay, I'm just going to push this out. Alright, let's just get this lined up. Okay, hello everyone. I am doing a exploration spread. I might change the title. I'm not too sure on how I want to go. So this is a bit of a mashup of different things I've sort of been thinking about. I've just been watching Brian's video, the one on his beautiful gifts, and he's spoken about it before, about how he speaks about his mother and her passing away, and all those beautiful sentiments that he talks about. And I just wanted to sort of share something with you guys that is coming up for me and my son, and sort of in view of what has happened this week after Joe the cat passed away, and you know, going through that process of taking care of somebody for so long. And I am very fortunate that I have not had to see my parents pass away as yet, but I have lost my grandmother, who I was very, very close to, and so I'm very grateful for that. But the process of death and grief, and it's coming up to the 10th year of my ex-husband and my son's father passing away in October. 10 years. 10 years is just such an it just seems insurmountable when you look at it as a chunk of time. And it's sort of interesting how this spread has sort of developed. And I'm sitting here and I'm listening to Brian, and Brian is so articulate when, to me, exploring and sharing how he feels. I really appreciate that. I find it quite hard to articulate how I feel. I feel it. There is no doubt that I feel it, but to put it into words and to express it and then to actually share it with others is a very different thing, which is what I don't tend to do a lot. Which is why I think tarot has helped me so much over the last 2 years, actually, my tarot journey. So this may be quite a long video, I don't know, but I feel like I need to express quite a lot to help me get through this. And I have watched over my son. I have guided him and nurtured him and taken care of him for I'd say 20 years, as well as, you know, when he was in my womb. And I just so wanted him. I so wanted him. I really, really wanted him. There was no doubt in my mind that that's who I wanted when we were conceiving him. And I just knew. I knew when I felt pregnant, and it was an amazing feeling. I loved being pregnant. So this is almost like the cycle of life, if you want to call it, I don't know, and a bit of exploration at the same time. But I don't know, it might be a bit morbid. But yeah, I decided to add up the numbers today, because Sunday is the 9th of the 9th, 2018, and when you reduce it down, it comes to 11. So 11 in the Wild Unknown is the Strength card. And I'm going to leave a link to Anya. I can't remember the rest of her channel name. I found her via Jessica, the Story Witch. She talks about the Wild Unknown. And the way that she expresses her connection with the wild unknown is beautiful. I was listening to it yesterday. I need to re-listen to it actually and start taking some notes. But today in the Wild Unknown is the strength card for 11, and I've also used my mini Rider-Waite, the Centennial version, and the 11 is the strength card. I hope it's not too dark for you guys and you can see that okay. So I decided to use this parallel sort of exploration. I wanted to get these two different views. So the exploration spread sort of came about because I was watching a unboxing of one of these decks. It's by Danielle Noel, and Danny Mystic was using it this morning. I can't remember. Anyway, to me, it sort of annoys me how I can't relate to these sort of fluffy style decks. It's like the Star Child, the Moon Child is very different. I know I'm getting off tangent, but I'm getting there. You're just going to have to be patient with me. I don't, you know, the Unicorn Tarot, I mean, it's beautiful, it's cute. And that other deck, it's an Oracle deck. Oh my gosh, I will leave it when I remember it. And I have this aversion. Like, you know, it's too much saccharine for me. It's too sweet. It's just too, and this is only my opinion. You know, everybody has aversions to different things, you know. So, you know, just be respectful of that it is my opinion and I'm wanting to share it with you, and you don't need to listen to it if you don't want to. So, and I had this aversion to selenite as well, and it was, you know, a few years ago now, and a friend of mine, she had it all throughout her house, and I'm going, I don't know what it is that it doesn't, I'm not attracted to it, I don't want to touch it. And now, and as I've just realised, I don't have any on here, and I'm just going to pause it. Okay, I got my selenite. But I found it really hard. I think what it is, at the time, whatever it was, I just wasn't ready. I wasn't ready for what selenite could bring to my life. And I think that's what it was. I was so, I was so in this space of not being awakened, and I wasn't in my tarot journey. So that was probably about 4 years ago. So 2018, you know, even earlier, I really wasn't digging it at all. So this spread that I wanted to sort of try out and see how it goes, I wanted to video it as I'm doing it. I haven't journaled with it because I know I get really lost in that, and I just wanted to explore it. This is about exploration because I don't know what's there below the surface. And, you know, as we're going through the process of putting Joe to rest, you know, my son made a memorial garden. I was there helping him, and this is the part, you don't know what's below the surface. We walk on this earth. We've got no idea what we're walking upon. There is so many things buried. So many things we have not a clue as to what is there. And this is something that I want to explore. So if this is making sense, I really hope this is making sense. Yeah, so the top card is obviously the surface. So this is what's on the surface, is strength and justice. These are two very opposing sort of energies, I feel, where this lion is here with this rose in his mouth. Is very, you know, obviously it has to be quite soft and gentle, but it's an amazing force. You know, we have that light energy from the sun and the magician's symbol on his forehead. And here we have justice. Justice is there is no bullshit. This is life. This is what, you know, the cycle of life is about. I'm really hoping that's coming across okay. You know, there is the balance, and sometimes you lose the balance, and then there's cutting through. There is no swords on a slant. It is very direct, and that's the way life is. There is life and there is death, and there is obviously the processes that go with that of how we deal with that. And obviously we need strength, and we need that gentleness and compassion and that forthright vision. They are not looking away. And, you know, there are times when I feel like I just want to look away and I just want to not see what is in front of me. But going through that process of putting Joe in the ground, and that's the next level really, is, so number one is what's on the surface, and number two is digging in the dirt. So this is the first part of the spread. And it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. So the next one is digging in the dirt. When so this is a 10 of Wands in the Wild Unknown. When I went outside to help my son, and he goes, it's really hard there. There's lots of roots in the ground. And there was all these bricks, broken bricks and pieces of metal and concrete. And he hadn't really dug that far, you know. So there was lots of obstruction in there. And it was really frustrating. He was getting really frustrated. So this is the point where I sort of came in. And I know this is a very different feel, the Three of Cups. The celebration, I think there needed to be this celebration, even though it was frustrating to try to do this. There has to be a celebration of life as well. And I think that's what sometimes we sort of forget, because our grief is so raw and it's so new, and I think that's sort of a really nice one to sort of go hand in hand, to celebrate the times that we did spend, even though, you know, we're going through this part where there's not a lot of light. It is very dark. There are all these barriers here. And at the time, you know, I had to get extra tools because it was just insane how many tree roots there were down there. Yeah, so this is quite a nice remembrance, I think, a remembrance of, even if you're going through this hard period, a remembrance. Okay. The next part is, obviously I just mentioned that, but there are any obstacles. Are there any obstacles? And here we have the Ace of Cups. Sort of got to the part where it was really, you know, the area had been prepared. And I think, you know, it was difficult to... I'm just thinking of the love. The love that was given so freely, you know, it overflowed. It overflowed. So I guess that would be an obstacle, because it was really hard to actually go through and to place him in the ground. And on the other side of that, we have the Four of Cups. So there are things that we certainly, you know, there can be times where it's painful, because we're looking at all these empty cups. It's painful to think of the loss and it's painful to think there is more out there for you. You're really not in that space. You're really not in that space to even want to think about that. The next part is treasure. So, yeah, as we were still going through this process, I sort of wanted to make this spread sort of go, you start at the surface, you go down, it gets a bit dark, and there may be things that you hadn't really seen, and then we're going to come back up. So these parts, this one here and that one there, that one and this one is coming back up to the surface. Okay, so the treasure that you might find is, the gifts that you will receive with the Six of Pentacles, the support that's there from people that you may not have known. And it's okay to ask for help. That's the thing that I really found hard, making the phone call to my friend to say, because she was going to take me to the vet, and, things were I had booked in, and I had to ring her back and say, look, it's, he's gone. And reaching out your hands to say, I need help when you're already down there on the ground is humbling. Do you know what I mean? To seem so vulnerable. And I think that's why the treasure that you find through this process, you will feel like this newness, this new space that you have to step into. That is the next step. It's almost like that ground is eroded and there is no other ground where you've come from. So, the only ground that is here is in front of you. It's really beautiful how the step always appears. It always appears. I think that's what I'm trying to get through now. The treasures that you're finding is this blind faith and trusting in yourself that you have that capacity to step out. I think that's a really nice part of this exploration or excavation spread, however way you want to look at it. And then number 5 is to fill it back in and return to the surface, which is kind of quite apt for this one. So you have re-emerged, haven't you? You have emerged, and it probably felt like death in this watery space, floating around, and you've got no idea where the hell you are. And you've come back to the surface, to this gorgeous awakening, this regalia, And on this side, we have the 8 of Pentacles. So there's still a lot of work in progress. Still a lot of work in progress. I think there is a resurgence there, and fine-tuning and coming back to the surface. And there are all this work you have already done. Look at all that work. It takes time, hey? It takes time. Seeing it with new eyes. I'm going to leave it there. I hope this comes across okay, and I just want to thank you for helping me through this process. This has really helped me sort of see things through a different lens, a different view, Yeah, I really appreciate you guys, and I just thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I will see you in the next video.